Alright everyone, this is probably the most important news that literally everybody on YouTube should be talking about, but it takes some time for word to get around. So I figured I would introduce the topic to people. I strongly recommend that you share this video. You know, if you use YouTube, which I'm assuming that you do. I strongly suggest that you speak out against this implementation as well, and encourage all other creators to do the same, because it would require a huge effort to prevent it from actually being fully implemented. YouTube has decided to go full 1984 mode, and under this, I don't know if anybody should even bother uploading political or religious or social commentary style videos to YouTube anymore. But as we've seen with like PewDiePie or anything like that, are gaming videos or satirical videos going to be exempted from the fallout from this? Probably not. YouTube has decided to implement a slew of new programs. One is that they're going to have AI, that is machines, actual computers policing the site. Now that's not so bad in and of itself as long as there's some recourse involved, I suppose. Unfortunately, what they're pairing with this is that videos that are considered offensive but don't actually violate YouTube's terms of service, like it won't get you banned. They're just gonna hide the videos in limbo now so that nobody will actually see them unless they're your subscriber. I have a feeling that the subscribers generally won't actually see those videos, won't see notifications for them either. That's rather concerning because they're also talking about partnering with a bunch of other groups that are like the No Hate Speech organization and the ADL and stuff in order to implement these policies. So you're telling me that other individuals that don't even work for Google or YouTube are going to be deciding what does or does not constitute offensive content, and they're going to be using machines that do it automatically as well. And that you're not going to offer anybody any recourse, like if their material is put in this actual limbo, which I assume explains what happened to Mark Dice. I'm assuming that was like a first test of their system. Originally, they probably said, well, maybe we just set the videos to private if this happens, or unlisted or something. And then the fallout happens, so they're like, no, we'll just hide it in limbo, so people can still see it and interact with it, but it'll be stripped down, and, you know, you won't be able to, like, share it and stuff like that. And you're not going to offer anybody any sort of recourse. So if a computer, not a human being, but a computer program decides that the video, based on its tags, its description, what's seen in the video maybe, is offensive and puts it in limbo, there will be no way to get it back out. Or if you're talking about a political topic and it's considered offensive, even if it's not something any sane person would consider offensive, it'll be put in limbo and there will be no recourse for that. But as we've seen, based on what the legacy media has said, based on what's been done to people who don't even really cover like politics or religion, and they still get screwed over. Based on what we've seen over the last few months, my prediction that there would be increasing attacks on independent content creators, that was not meant to be, in fact, a guideline for how YouTube should be run. And it seems like that's what YouTube intends to implement. So, I mean, I'm going to see how things go here. But if over the next few months I notice, oh yeah, suddenly the number of people viewing my material drops like a rock. The number of people subscribing to me drops like a rock. Nobody's really talking about my videos anymore. Why would I even bother continuing to use YouTube for anything other than the most innocuous of content? Why would I even bother to leave like, 90% of my videos up on YouTube at that point? I'll just use it to spit out. It'll become a secondary video service for me. I'd probably move full-time to focusing on VidMe or something. By the way, to the people at VidMe, and trust me, I'm going to be making a separate video for you. Golden opportunity as YouTube begins to falter with the political crowd. Like I said before, and you should have listened then, you need to unfreeze the politics category, because you can prepare for a massive influx of users that are not going to be very happy if their material's being stymied there also. You're essentially moving to the wrong-think-based sort of 1984 system that a lot of people were worried you were going to move towards before with the adpocalypse. Now, when that happened, it only affected people that were taking ads on YouTube. Now you're saying, oh, some machine determined your video to be offensive. It could be a makeup tutorial, but some algorithm determines that something kind of looked like a dick in your video. or something that you said sounded kind of like a slur, even if it's something totally different because you have an accent or something. The machine decided to put your video in limbo. Whoops. Yeah, there goes any hope of that ever getting a larger audience for you. All your efforts are for naught, completely wasted. And this will affect, trust me, plenty of people on the left. If you're on the left, tell you why you should be concerned about this. Do you not spend some of your time responding to those you find objectionable who have, nationalistic or racialistic opinions or something along those lines? Well, then you should be concerned, because if you address those issues, your response isn't going to get any additional leeway because some machine's going to put it in limbo. Or somebody else is going to put it in limbo because you mentioned your opposition to Nazis or something like that. But you used the wrong word, so the machine picked it up anyway. And by the way, there's no appeals process whatsoever. Automated policing online is a very, very bad idea, generally speaking. No machine is accurate enough as of yet to really pull that weight, and to do so without screwing over large numbers of larger content creators. YouTube, in fact, is based largely on the independent initiative of many millions of individuals. It's not largely based on a very small... It's not like cable, where you've got 5 or 6 companies controlling virtually all that you see and hear. It's not like On Demand, where a few hundred companies are making the bulk of the movies and the series and everything, and the TED Talks getting hosted that are on there. YouTube is much, much more decentralized. And the people who run YouTube, namely Google, run in turn by Alphabet, should not think that their platform is so big and so hegemonic that it's not capable of facing stiff opposition either from its own user base or from any other site that raises a stink about this issue and brands itself as the more anti-censorship version of YouTube. Because some of us were around very early on. I was on YouTube almost 10 years ago, and I can remember when the biggest concern was that some company was going to come in and file a false copyright complaint on a video that contains no copyrighted material whatsoever, or buffering time or something like that. All of that slowly improved over time. Things were getting better and better, and now you pull this. This plunges us back beyond square one where we were in 2007 or 2008, in all honesty. And it's going to, you're going to face quite a bit of backlash from this. And it's not going to come from a handful, a small chorus of voices who want to ramble about racial issues on YouTube. It's going to come from basically anybody who discusses politics. Anybody who talks about their religious views. You realize how many users that is and how many large creators that is? And you're talking about essentially telling them to screw themselves because they're no longer welcome on the platform entirely. So again, I'll wait and see what happens. But any noticeable decline from here on out is probably going to cause me to stop uploading the majority of the content I upload to YouTube. I won't bother to make it anymore. There won't be live streams. There won't be political banter. There won't be election coverage. You're going to have to go to another site to get that if YouTube actually fully implements this. And I have a feeling a lot of other people will do the same. They'll say, well, why am I going to spend hours and hours on a video I want to make if there's no guarantee some machine doesn't put it in limbo so nobody actually interacts with it? Like, they're talking about not even allowing people to comment on, like, or share videos that are put in this kind of limbo. What's the point? If it's not breaking your terms of service, then why hide it? What's the problem? Is this part of a PR campaign? There's a trade-off between getting good PR by playing nice with the advertisers and some anti-hate speech organization and pissing off so many of your actual users that the site goes into decline regardless of what your PR situation is. There's a trade-off between these two things. YouTube just went way, way out there in making this announcement. And you can get it from YouTube itself. This is their announcement. This is a coverage of their actual announcement. This is what they're actually saying. Yeah, machines have been handling most of the takedowns that have happened for the last few months. 75% of them were automatic. Well, that doesn't seem to have affected me, but was that what caused Jordan Peterson's problem this morning? Because he's not exactly far out there. Is that what caused his account to be locked? Did it cause Mark Dice's video weeks ago to get set to private? I'm willing to bet at this point that it was. It looks like your algorithms are a little bit faulty. What would be the point of continuing to use YouTube for somebody like myself? It's like people can use any other service. If they're really a core fan, they can use VidMe to watch my material already. If they really want to, you should probably sign up there. Link in the description, because the fallout from this might be substantial. Now, hopefully, enough people will raise enough of a chorus against this idea that YouTube ends up abandoning it. It'll be like with restricted mode. With restricted mode, for a while there, they had it by default turned on no matter what happened. You had to like opt out of restricted mode. And it really strangulated things on YouTube, and that was mild compared to this. And then they stopped that. They said, okay, well, restricted mode will only be on in a few basically if you're using a school computer or something, people can opt in to having it set to that by default, which was the right thing to do, and nobody has a problem with it. It's like affecting 5% of users. This is basically telling the adults that actually use YouTube, no, indeed, by the way, you can't make sound decisions about what you do or do not want to watch, what you do or do not subscribe to. We're simply going to suppress a substantial proportion of all the content on the site retroactively, including probably a shit ton of old videos too. Based on what? They're not even really giving an explanation as to what criteria are used to judge this. Are you talking about offensive as in expresses like rather out there views, or are you talking about anything that's flagged and thus could be construed as offensive by any random user on YouTube? Will this affect people who are verified, or is it just people who have less established presences? Is it primarily automated, or in those cases will a real human be reviewing what the computer has marked as potentially offensive before the determination is made? Will you implement any form of appeals process? Or are you going to give it over to these, other organizations that didn't help build YouTube? They're not content creators on YouTube. I would think this would be of grave concern to virtually every alt media outlet as well. Are you going to talk about this? Am I going to hear about this from some of the smaller media presences that already have like the YouTube channel and the Twitter page and, might end up getting suppressed in favor of lamestream cable news? Or the New York Times because of this? By the way, are you going to apply this automation to those channels? Or are you going to go through and exempt a few of them because they happen to be offering a streaming service or something along those lines? All things to be thought about. Yes, you should definitely raise your voice against this. This needs to go completely viral because otherwise it gets implemented and it's basically like, okay, well, if it causes any real effect down the line, there's no reason to use YouTube. It'll become a dead site. It'll become a ghost town. It'll be a streaming service. It'll turn into Hulu or something like that. That's what it would turn into. Who's going to make independent content? If someone who is making G-rated content says, damn it, are they going to get put in limbo? Get their channel taken down? All of a sudden nobody can find it or something like that? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's making me think about getting a WordPress too to host my blog, honestly. And getting rid of my Gmail in favor of some other email service because I'm like, wow, are they going to go through your emails and see if you've been loyal to the thought police or not, or something along those lines? It may be time to think about all these things. Maybe leave Google high and dry if they're going to engage in that kind of behavior. But simply leaving a comment and liking this video is not going to do anything. Upload your own video against it. Share that around too. Contact other major content creators. You know who they are. I talk about them all the time. I'm connected with them on Twitter. You know who they are. Get Razorfist involved. I'm sure he'll have something funny to say about this one. Get Molyneux involved. Oh, he'll have a field day. He'll sit there and talk for 5 hours unfettered. Jordan Peterson, probably the one that's going to jump on it first at this point. Get Mark Dice involved. Even people, get PewDiePie involved. Man, can you imagine? He talks about this, all sorts of millions of people will see it. That'd be wonderful. You should go talk to PewDiePie about it. He's basically the de facto representative of all YouTubers in a democratic fashion just because he's the #1 uploader. Get him involved. Yeah, it would be pretty bad for the site if they implement this. If it's going to be as far-reaching as it could be. Like if it's one video a day gets put in limbo because, the person was like uploading Third Reich footage or something. Okay, probably doesn't disturb the functionality of the site. But if they start applying it much more loosely, which is unfortunately probably what they would do, yeah, I wouldn't use YouTube anymore. I wouldn't even upload occult literature videos to it. I would probably delete my account altogether. I'd probably just leave. Yeah, here I am. It's only a few months out from marking 10 years that I've been on YouTube. And then they pull this. Wonderful. Yeah, I've got a silver play button in the background. It's like, well, who's going to care about that in the future? If YouTube does that, it'll be like having an award from MySpace or something like that. So you need to get other people involved. But I'll be talking to VidMe in a bit. I'll make an exclusive video. They're very important. The people at VidMe, they need to understand how the world is working right now. I get frustrated because people who run multi-billion-dollar companies or startups that are still worth multi-millions of dollars, they don't even have foresight. They don't even understand the world. How can you, it boggles the mind. How can you have so much money and so many fans and so many users and have so little foresight? How can you be like that? How did you succeed, essentially? It gets me actually a little bit mad. Like legit, I get angry at this sort of bullshit. It shouldn't be happening. YouTube was built by private individuals. It wasn't built by advertisers, ultimately. It wasn't built by Fox News and CNN. It wasn't built by the ADL. It was built by private individuals with a plethora of different views on different subjects. If you're cracking down on people that are posting terroristic content, nobody under the sun cares. Everybody supports that. Nobody cares if you're taking some ISIS nasheed off of YouTube. But if you're implementing automation, there's always the risk somebody gets material taken down. They don't even get the benefit of the doubt. They just get raided, everything gets put in limbo. Yeah, I guess pretty soon you're going to have millions of people who have political and religious opinions attacking one another's videos constantly. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be exactly like it was. You're going to get to see, if they fully implement this prediction, you're going to get to see what YouTube was like in 2008. And all of you, and 90% of you who weren't there to see it, because you weren't on YouTube at the time. You were too young. You weren't even on the internet yet. Like you were like just bumbling around on the sidewalk or something. You didn't have a YouTube account. You were still using, I don't know, MetaCafe or something. You're going to get to see how it was back in the bad old days of YouTube. Back when Google had barely inherited it from the charred wreckage of the independent company that first built it in the first place. Oh, you're going to get to see what it's like on steroids, and you're not going to like it very much. So the time to prevent that, if we can, is now, before it happens. Trust me, you won't like it very much. There'll be so much extra activity on the site, just from people flagging one another's videos and disliking everything they can find and sending off emails complaining I was banned, my video's put in limbo, what the hell's going on? There'll be so much confusion. It will stop functioning as a site. There won't be a YouTube. It'll exist, it'll be a skeleton crew site, and it'll look like MySpace. They'll have to purge all the old material. They'll try to rebrand themselves like these sites typically do after they go into decline. It won't work, they'll keep declining, they'll rebrand themselves again, and that'll be something totally different. YouTube will end up being an eBay ripoff or something like that. Is that what you want? I don't. I'm addicted to YouTube. I don't want to stop using the platform. But if I'm not getting anything out of it, what am I going to do? That's about all. Peace out.